Good evening and welcome to November. It's November 1st and it's Dreich, as we say in Scotland. It's Dreich. But it's a new month, and with a new month, Anne and I will be sharing some readings from another person who's been influential in our spiritual lives, this time Richard Rohr. Richard Rohr is a Franciscan Roman Catholic priest who co-founded the Center for Action and Contemplation in New Mexico. And he's a prolific author, written lots and lots of stuff, but he also sends out a daily email that you can subscribe to. And this past week, I have been particularly struck by his theme. Every week is a different theme. This week, he's really focused on original blessing instead of original sin, which has done so much damage to us over the years. Not that it's not got its value, it does have, as a doctrine, it has some value. But our belief really, our Orthodox Christian belief, is that we were made by God in God's image and we were created good, not bad. The negativity in our world, I think, is enhanced by a negative starting point in our faith. And that's sort of Richard Rohr's point this week. So it's a little bit challenging because you have to kind of rethink yourself as well as what you really believe, which is probably not a bad thing that I'm doing this on Monday the 1st after last Friday's challenge about blood sacrifices and our belief systems on suffering and violence. So here's what he wrote last week. It's an excerpt from a sermon that he shared on the nature of being named a beloved child of God. It was a baptismal Sunday sermon reflecting on the words that came to Jesus at his baptism. You are my beloved Son, in you I am well pleased. Here's what he says. We can't start a spiritual journey on a negative foundation. If we just seek God out of fear or guilt or shame, which is often the legacy of original sin, we won't go very far. If we start negative, we stay negative. We have to begin positive by a wonderful experience, by something that's larger than life, by something that dips us into the depths of our own being. That's what the word baptism means, to be dipped into. Jesus is 30 years old when his baptism happens. According to Mark's gospel, he hasn't said a single thing up till now. Until we know that we are a beloved son or beloved daughter, or even just beloved, we don't have anything to say. We're so filled with ourselves that we have no good news to share with the world. In his baptism, Jesus was dipped in the unifying mystery of life and death and love. That's where it all begins, even for Jesus. The unique Son of God had to hear it with his own ears, and then he couldn't be stopped. Then he has plenty to say for the next 3 years, because he's finally found his own soul, his own identity, his own life purpose. Father Rohr goes on. After 14 years as a chaplain in the Albuquerque jails, I am convinced that the reason people make great mistakes is because they have never heard what Jesus heard on the day of his baptism. They never heard another human voice, much less a voice from heaven, say to them, "You are a beloved son. You are a beloved daughter. And in you I am well pleased." If we've never had anyone believe in us, take delight in us, affirm us, call us beloved, we don't have anywhere to begin. There's nothing exciting and wonderful to start with. So we spend our whole lives trying to say these words to ourselves. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm wonderful. I'm great. But we don't really believe it. The word has to come from someone greater than us. That's really a parent's primary job, to communicate to their child that they are a beloved, externally existing child of God. Our jails are filled to overflowing with people who never heard this foundational message. And sadly, so is much of our world. The only purpose of the gospel, and even religion, is to communicate that one and eternal truth. Once we have that straight, nothing can stop us, and no one can take it away from us, because it is given only, always, and everywhere by God, for those who will accept it freely. My only job, and any preacher's job, and I personally would add any Christian's job, is to try to replicate and resound that eternal message of God that initiates everything as good on this earth. You are a beloved child of God. Father Richard also offers every week on Saturdays a summary of each day's reading for the week, and then he always adds some kind of spiritual practice. And you can access those on YouTube. So if you're interested and want more information, you can look up the Center for Action and Contemplation on the web or Facebook, or email me, and I'll get you the right sort of information. So, beloved, be loved. I'll close with one of my favorite nuns' always parting blessing. Sister Mary Luke always says, "Until we meet again, know you are loved." Good night.